Apple Card is the credit card created by Apple. You earn 3% daily cash back up front when you use it to buy a new iPhone 15, AirPods, or any products at Apple. And you can automatically grow your daily cash at 4.15% annual percentage yield when you open a high-yield savings account. Apply for Apple Card in the Wallet app on iPhone. Apple Card subject to credit approval. Savings is available to Apple Card owners subject to eligibility. Savings accounts by Goldman Sachs Bank USA, member FDIC. Terms apply.
The holidays are coming. Find a gift for someone special with jewelry from Blue Nile. Right now, Blue Nile is offering special Black Friday and Cyber Monday deals. Save up to 50% on the season's most stunning trends. Blue Nile offers an endless selection of bold gold styles, gemstone jewelry, and classic diamond pieces. And now, for a limited time, get 36 months special financing on minimum purchases of $1,000. Restrictions apply. See BlueNile.com for details. That's BlueNile.com.
In sports, the scoreboard doesn't tell the full story, but Netflix does. Stories about dads who happen to be world-class quarterbacks and a battle for the heart, soul, and direction of the multi-billion-dollar business of F1. Whether you're a diehard fan or you're brand new, Netflix has the stories for every type of fan. You can watch these incredible sports stories like Quarterback, F1 Drive to Survive, Untold, and many more now on Netflix.
Welcome to Scarlets Fever, the home of Saucepan Central and Westerer is Besterer. Hello and welcome to this week's edition of Scarlets Fever. We're all still smiling, we're all still in one piece. Joining me, as always, is Big M and Hugh. How are we, gentlemen?
I'm good, mate. How are you?
So we were still smiling. I mean, we will talk about the Leinster game later, but yeah, I took a lot more from the Ospreys defeat than I read into the Scarlets defeat. So
100%.
Yeah. Let's focus on that later. So anyway, let's just start with how our week has been. Hugh, anything of interest to report this week? Have you broken any new boundaries this week?
Well, I had a really exciting guest on the Pirate Rugby Pod, which I was really excited for. It's a Formula One podcaster, and we talked about how Formula One has exploded in popularity and what rugby can look to copy from Formula One. And I finished that recording thinking, God, that's the best podcast I've ever done. It was a fantastic guest. Uploaded it, nothing. It's the worst views of any podcast that we've done since about week 3. It's like, I don't get this game. It doesn't make any sense. So I'm just going to be content with being on the most watched podcast on the Rap YouTube channel. That's all I have to do.
Yeah. I don't understand podcasts either sometimes myself on the listening numbers, because sometimes you do a pod and you'll go, that was really good. I really enjoyed that. And that everything worked well. Everything comes across really well. And then people just, not interested. Don't share it. Don't do anything. Don't get it. But first world problems, boys. First world problems. Mark, what about you? How's your week been, mate?
Normal old week. I think the only thing of note was this morning. It's Sunday for anyone who's listening, and obviously gale force winds and rain this morning, and bloody coaching 20 under 8s in a game of tag for over an hour. So that was fun. Oh wow.
I do not miss that side of coaching at all. I used to prefer coaching under 7s and under 8s because it's just like trying to control a box of frogs. It's insane. It's the most fun you could have. And then you say to them at the end, like days like today, go dive in a puddle, boys. And that's the most exciting thing that they've done all week. And they take this massive long run up and they're all shouting and screaming and diving in the puddle. And their parents are going, he's got to sit in my car, mate. And you've just made him dive in a puddle. And it's like, yeah, I don't miss the standing there freezing cold. So I went to hockey today. I took my daughter to hockey and stood there freezing cold for 9:30 till 10, 11, 12, 1, 5 hours. 5 hours I stood there in the freezing, naffing cold, rain, just insane.
And you didn't take an umbrella?
No, I did. I took an umbrella. The umbrella was the only saving grace. I was like bloody Mary Poppins at one point, trying to keep hold of it. Anyway, let's move on to some rugby stuff. Let's talk rugby. So let's start with the important bit, the important games from the weekend. Big M, let's have your community game rundown, my friend.
Yeah, bear with me. Winding up now. Gotta get ready because you've stuck me in at the deep end now. You've put everything on my shoulders. So there's
I just thought that I was repeating a lot of what you said last week, and I just thought it goes on too long. So I just thought you're big enough and ugly enough to look after this on your own. So off you go, mate.
Wow. Wow.
I think Hugh's going to play the guitar while you're doing this as well, mate.
No, we didn't play this week, did they? Did New Dog Stars play this week?
Yeah.
All right, I'll start listening for that bit.
All right, then, boys. Enough taking a piss out of me. Let's go. Okay. Premiership results. We've only got one of note this week. Carmarthen Quins lost again at home, 18-22 to Merthyr. Llandovery had a bye as a 13-team league. Next week, Carmarthen Quins travel to Sardis Road to play Pontypridd on the Thursday night S4C game, and Llandovery host Newport in a big clash on Saturday. In Championship West, Ammanford lost 22-42 at home to Narberth. Llangennech lost the second game on the bounce, 29-30 at home to Ystadllefair. Crymych won on the road to Tata Steel, 26-20. And Newcastle Emlyn will lead in Trebanos, 20 points to 9 on 62 minutes when a head injury caused the game to be abandoned. Everyone's okay, as far as I know. It's all been cleared up. Game fixtures for this week, we've got Ammanford hosting Maesteg Quins, Newcastle Emlyn travelling to Bonamine, Crymych at home to Dunvant, Narberth at home to Ystadllefair, and Llangennech travelling to Trebanos. Into Division 1 West, Wellinville lost a very tight game, 15-16 at home to Aberystwyth. Llanelli Wanderers continued their unbeaten run, going 21-10 victors in Gawatan. Kidwelly won 25-7 away to Whitland. Buryport, Pencloud and Hendy Gosainan were both postponed. This week's games, we've got Aberystwyth at home to Hendy, Whitland travelling to Gosainan, Llanelli Wanderers at home to Wellinville, nice local derby there. Buryport travel to Pontarddulais and Kidwelly travel to An Division 1 West Central, Brynaman lost away to Birchgrove 16-6. So disappointed with this one. I really expected Brynaman to do it, but nevertheless, onwards and upwards. This week, they're hosting Astrid Ginlais. Over into Division 2 West now. And first fixture up, Carmarthen Athletic beat Lampeter 9-5 at home. Fishguard, well, this is my result of the week, you know. Yeah. Fishguard 16, Lacha 14. Nobody this side of the bridge likes Lacha, but knowing they were 100%, and it's just been smashed by Fishguard of all teams. Yeah. It is just brilliant. Then we got Nancaredig beating to Christ 21-10 at home, and Pontyberem losing 17-37 at home to St Clair's. Aman United against Mumbles and Milford Haven against Tenby were both postponed. This week we got Fishguard at home again against Carmarthen Athletic, Lampeter at home against Nancaredig, St Clair's travel to Lacha, Pontyberem go to Mumbles, Tenby host Aman United, and to Christ host Milford Haven. See, it's too many in these divisions. I need to break it down a little bit. Division 3 West A. I got to say this now. I haven't done one of these in a while. Aberaeron beat Haverfordwest 19-7 at home. Cardigan 41-0 over Pembroke Quins. Langham losing 64-0 at home to Larne. Disappointed with that. Neyland 44-10 victors at home to Llanybydr. And another great result, St David's beating Pembroke 17-12 away. Now, that is cracking, you know.
On that one, Pembroke had 4 penalties, 5 penalties, all smack bang in front of the posts, and decided to scrum on each of them and try to run it over, and failed. So I was talking to a couple of boys today about it. So we were not impressed. But there we go.
Oh.
Carry on.
Fixtures for this week, we got Cardigan at home to Langham, Haverfordwest hosting Pembroke, Larne hosting Neyland, Llanybudder at home to St David's. St David's on the road 2 weeks in a row. Sarsh. And Pembroke Dockwins at home to Aberaeron. Division 3 West B now. Kev Nathan beating Tumble 21-16 in the Gwendraeth derby. Tumble will be really upset losing that. They've been so strong this season. Who this one is for you. New Dock Stars beat Furness 9-10 away from home. Llandibby beat Binya 22-0 at home. And Llangadog beat Tregaron 31-19 away. Other games were Llandailo, Penygroes and Trimsaran, Betos, both postponed. This week, we've got Betos at home to Tregaron, Llangadog at home to Kev Nathan, New Dock Stars hosting Llandailo, Penygroes hosting Llandibby, Trimsaran at home to Binya, and Tumble at home to Furness. Almost there, boys. Just a few short ones left. We got Division 5 West Central now. Pantyfunan against Pennybank. 1945 in Pennybank's favour away, so a cracking win. And Seven Sisters 61, Pontiac 0. That's a tough one to take for any team, but especially Pontiac, who I, for some weird reason, back to do really well and come away with a league title this year. How wrong was I?
Yeah, but you did that last year. You're like a kiss of death when you say somebody's going to have a good season.
For the lower ones, yeah, because I backed Haverfordwest as well, and they just didn't turn up.
Crap.
I know. Fixtures for this week, Pantyfunan and Pennybank both on the road. Pantyfunan go to Cumturch, Pennybank go to Ricos. No game for Pontiac, as is a lovely 11-team league. Who doesn't love an odd-numbered league? It's just brilliant. Into the younger boys now. A youth plate round
Careful how you
match.
say that, Matt.
What?
Into the younger boys now. You're going to be careful how you say that stuff, mate.
Hang on, it's the mind it goes into now. I bet be watching what you were doing. I wonder why you boys left home at 18.
Oh dear.
Okay.
Carry on.
Youth played round 2. Haverfordwest lost 27-31 to Bontland. So that's the only youth game we had. And it was quarter-final week for the Dewar Shield, Plate and Bowl. Mynydd Mawr and Drenefu won 34-21 at home to Isloin Schools. 2 derbies then for us. Ceredigion beating Carmarthen Schools 15-13 in the Morgan Griffiths Plate. And Llanelli beating Pembrokeshire Schools 29-14, also at home in the Lawrence Miller Bowl. The semi-finals are this week. We haven't had the fixtures yet, but we will get them up as soon as we have them.
Is it me?
And that's it. All done.
Are they playing? Is that like getting to the final stage a lot quicker than it normally does? Because I remember it getting to the final stages the other side of Christmas.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, it's part of what they've done to change it. They've basically condensed it all down into a pre-Christmas, essentially.
Right.
I'm not too sure what happens after Christmas. I don't know if the regional under-16s do some training or something, but it's definitely new. And who did the rugby, slogging it out in the rain and the mud.
Well, they must go into Scarlets East West after Christmas, because that's what used to happen. That's where Scarlets East and West used to come from. And at the end of the season, you'd have your Scarlets under 18s effectively, then, wouldn't you? And so I'm assuming that.
Yeah, that's the logical thing.
Seems a bit. So what happens to under 15s now? Do they just not play under 15s? Under
15s, no. Under 15s, there's no games as such now, but instead of only having a select, 35, 40 boys do your training. Every single person who wants to experience the coaching, the training, can sign up for the emerging player program or whatever it's called, and they get all of that coaching through under 15 years. And then the selection process is at the end of the under 15, at the end of year 10. So it's basically the way they've done it is they've just opened up the coaching, the training to everyone who wants it. They sign up. It's literally like a Google Forms. You click on it, register, here's the days and times of training. You turn up, boom.
But there's no competitive games. Okay. Cool. Are we all done with the community game then? Is that it?
Yeah, I'm happy with that. It's actually quite smooth. I expected that to be a bit more bumpier this week.
So Hugh can stop playing with his little fiddly bits now. There you go. Hugh's paying attention now. Oh, he's in. I tell you what, if he ever comes west again, I'm going to make him watch a whole load of community games and stuff. Just you can.
I like it. I want to go and see some community games.
You
Who's
don't,
just the best hot dog?
Leamington or something, isn't it? You said.
Well, yeah, I'm thinking of going to watch Coventry. If they're playing Ealing early next year, I'm going to go watch that game.
But there's a difference between that and then standing around the outside of Langham when it's pissing down 3 degrees below and there's like 10 other people on the pitch, on the sidelines and you, and then that's proper community game. That is.
My cousin John Griffin used to be captain of Holmes Chapel Village rugby team. So we used to go and watch him quite regularly and stand around the edge of the AP club. And there was like one guy who swore a lot and they had to ask him to leave.
Okay. Right, let's move on then to Hugh's magic numbers. So what magic numbers have you got this week, mate? So
this week's magic numbers come in the form of a quiz. We like quizzes, and there's going to be lots more quizzes coming from
absolutely,
the referee.
Yeah.
So, the first one, this is going to be, if this is the answer, what is the question type quiz?
Okay, go on.
So, first one is 4.
How many?
It's not related to the Leinster game.
Oh, I was going to say, how many entries into the Leinster 22 did we have? 4.
How many times the Ospreys have lost in Rodney Parade?
Yeah, no, I'm sure it's more than 4. Feels like about 400.
I give up. What's the answer?
That is, how many South African franchises lost this weekend?
Really?
Last week, all 4 regions lost and everyone was going mental. And all 4 South African teams have lost. I assume there's going to be crisis meetings in South Africa. And I assume the South African Scrum 5 is going to be wall-to-wall doom and gloom, 24/7. Or maybe not, or maybe they'll just chill out. Anyway, next question, 12. Next answer, I should have said 12.
Yeah. What number shirt does the inside centre play?
No, well, that is true, but it's not the answer in this case.
Yeah. Who is the favourite to get a yellow card in the Scarlets game?
Oh, that's tricky. We got 2. Got 2 in this game, didn't we?
Yeah.
No, this one is I did a little bit on Twitter and I said, for every try that Leinster score, I'm going to eat a Viennese sandwich.
Oh, I saw that.
Is that what they were? Was it? Right. Okay.
Yeah, which I did, and 12 people, 12 replied to me and said, "You're going to need a second packet." I tweeted it like that,
faith.
And I put my phone down, and I looked down and go, "That's a lot of notifications all of a sudden." And I picked up, it was all 12 people making the exact same joke, including Josh Gardner from the Blood and Mud podcast.
Cool.
Right, and then this next one, last one. Which area of France has got the most fountains per area?
What the hell has that got to do with anything? Paris. I don't know.
No.
Toulouse. Toulon.
No. That's just
Normandy.
Toulouse. I'll give you a clue. Tom Francis plays for them.
Where did Tom
Montpellier?
Francis
I don't know.
Where did he go? He went down south somewhere, didn't he? Work on a tan. Don't know.
Did he go
Provence.
Division 2?
Did he go to Provence?
Yeah, Provence, where George North is rumoured to be going. That's how I came to know that fact.
What's that got to do with fountains?
Most fountains per square mile in Provence.
Wow.
Mate, you need to...
Is that where you stay?
I've never been there. I'd like to. Any excuse to go to the south of France, mate. Don't need to be sold on any idea.
Have you got that on a spreadsheet?
What happened to this segment?
No, I've got it down here.
I like that bit.
Wow.
I just, where the hell did you get that piece of information from?
It came up. It came up in the George North discussion about why he's going to Provence, and someone said maybe it's for the fountains.
But it's a nobody player that we don't care about. Come on.
Yeah. Well, speaking of transfer rumours, are we allowed to play that we've got a rumour that may or may not, or have we got to keep stum about it until it comes up, and then we go, oh yeah, that was our rumour that we were gonna.
Yeah, I'll say we'll keep stum.
We'll keep stum. But I know something you don't know. I know something.
Because I've had it from a couple of sources, but I know if I say anything,
and
one of them might be a little bit upset, even though the other two are right.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll keep that. But the thing is that particular one would have other ramifications, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
So yeah. Okay, we'll keep that one under our hats. Okay, let's look at so I'm going to dig out the 3-word thoughts from the weekend, and I'm going to, as I'm doing that, I'm going to I've only got one listener's question this week, which comes from Richard, Dick, whatever, in Newcastle, England. So Rich asked, does the Leinster game mean anything in preparation for the Ospreys game? So while I dig out the 3-word thoughts, you two have a chat about that.
Well, for me, there is a small bearing, and it's to have players match fit and ready for the derbies. Nothing else. Just have them ready. That's the only bearing it has for me.
Not for me. We're going to have a completely different 15 out for the derby. There might be a couple of the ones from the Leinster team on the bench. Apart from that,
I'm going for 9
well,
changes.
The back row will be pretty similar. How many changes are you going, Mark?
9.
There were 10 changes going into that game, weren't there? And
I think now.
Have they said if Lousy, are they expecting Lousy, Dan Davis back fit?
Lousy is hopeful, more than hopeful, as far as I know. Dan Davis, I haven't heard nothing, literally nothing.
Don't need him.
I know.
We'll talk about it in a bit, but I'm going 8 changes.
Okay.
He's back in one of the wingers to keep their spots.
Yeah.
But we count positional changes as changes.
Well, no, that's not a change. That's just a switcheroo.
That's a change.
It's a switcheroo.
8. I've said 8.
Okay. Go with 8 then. So, does the Leinster game have any bearing on the Ospreys game? I don't think so either. We all agreed that not really. It doesn't really affect what comes next.
No. Even if it does, we played better against Leinster than the Ospreys played against the Dragons.
But we scored the same amount of points. We scored the same amount of points against Leinster as the Ospreys scored against the Dragons. So
that's a good start. I wish that was my magic number. You should have told me that before we started recording.
The magic number is 5, the amount of points that we scored and the Ospreys did. Yeah. Right. So 3-word, we were saying earlier about how podcasts there's no rhyme or reason for if it goes down well or if not. So when we beat Cardiff, after every game we put out 3-word thoughts. And it's a real simple principle now, and I'll be fair, everybody's getting the 3-word bits now. I think they're listening to the pod and they're going, we've got the 3, because I didn't get any essays this week at all. It was 3 words.
Well done, everybody.
A big part on the backs for you. But played Cardiff, 3-word thoughts after Cardiff. So first win of the season, first win at home, lovely jubbly, played some decent rugby. Had a few, 1 or 2, not massive amounts. Put this one out, and I was like a bloody machine gun going off all night. Bang, 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 bang. There was loads of them on there. So we're more willing to talk about stuff on social media when we get absolutely pasted than we are than when we play well and have a decent game. And I'll come back. Go on.
Do you remember last week someone said we like losing? Was their 3 words? Maybe it's true.
It's on here again.
Oh no.
Might be the same person. But I'll talk about, when we talk about the Leinster game, I'll talk about the difference in how we phrase things, but I'll come to that later. So anyway, 3-word thoughts. Andrew Goff, straight in with worst run union. So nothing to do with us. That's just the union of crap. So we'll go with that one. Can't compete physically from Chris. Mandy's been listening. Now, I like Mandy because Mandy's obviously got a lot to say. So first of all, she goes a long season ahead, and then she comes in straight after that with Leinster massive budget. So, she's split it into, I like that one. Well done, Mandy. And then Hugh replies to Mandy with blah, 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 blah. But I've ignored that because that was a reply to a 3-word more than a 3-word. Hugh actually says exhibition over expectation. Brian.
What does that mean?
Well, I don't know. Exhibition over expectation. I don't know. Hugh, get back in touch. Hang on, I'll reply to you now. So what should we like? We're going to live. Yeah, not you. Different Hugh. So what do you mean? There we go. So when
what do you mean?
So that's gone out on our Facebook page now. So that's
so you can time when we recorded the pod.
That's when we recorded the pod. Mark says no surprise. Brian, our real level. Hello again, Brian. Adrian, how are you?
No surprise is 2 words.
No surprise, really.
Oh,
yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Fine.
Adrian, we were dreadful. Hello, he's an old mate of mine.
Come on.
Men against boys will get better from Gareth Williams. Probably will. James Ray chips in again with we enjoy losing. Owen Leclerc isn't even a Scarlets fan, so ignore that. And then Catherine says, what's going on? And then there were a whole load as well on Twitter, but I'm not going to go into Twitter. But the general kind of gist behind it was split into 2 camps. It was either, what did we expect going up against Leinster with a weakened side? Or actually, some of the youngsters will actually learn quite a bit from there. Some of the youngsters they did quite well, which is what you were alluding to earlier, Hugh, when we were talking about open sides. So let's delve into the Leinster game then, and let's have a chat. Oh, okay. Prepare yourselves, boys. Deep breaths. Okay. It was a 49-point drubbing. It was 54-5 was the final score. But the interesting bit was what you said on the chat, Hugh, about when Leinster scored. So go on, give us that bit as our kickoff.
Yeah, so I think we obviously all went into the game with an expectation. Well, I think most people, unless you're completely deluded, went into the game with a certain expectation.
Hang on. Stop there a second, because Martin, we should really read out some of those. What are you two talking about? We're going to take up. Come on, boys, we've got this.
I think there was a few profanities in there as well, but yeah, that was a general.
I will point out that I have made some Leinster fan friends over the weekend, but a lot of them are talking like they just beat primed to lose in that game. Like, oh my God, we're so good. Like, calm down, guys. But anyway, to answer the question, we conceded 3 tries in the first 15 minutes. We conceded 3 tries in the last 15 minutes. In the 50 minutes in between, so the middle half and a bit, and that doesn't include half time. So an hour. We went an hour. An hour. We only scored. We lost. What was it? 14-5.
12-5.
No, they didn't. They got both conversions.
No, fair enough.
Okay.
Yeah. So, okay, we didn't score loads of tries, but that for over half the game, we were all right. It was just the first 15 where we had a man sent off for 10 minutes, and the last 15 where we also had a man sent off for 10 minutes. It all went a bit, as you would expect. But the middle of the bit wasn't so bad. I'm the first person that when people talk about, so we can all think of another rugby content creator who, when a team gets beat by 50, they go, "Oh my God, they're going to win the World Cup." So that annoys me as much as anybody. Honestly, yes, I know the scoreline's bad, and yes, taking 50, I'm sick of it as much as anybody. It wasn't that bad for a lot of that game. So I'm not too annoyed. You have to remember the difference in the level of team. Okay, now everyone can talk about where we should be and where we were 6 years ago or everything like that. The team that Leinster had out had 4 players who were in the World Rugby Team of the Year in it. Okay, that doesn't include, those 4 players don't include former Player of the Year Josh van der Fleer, doesn't include Six Nations Player of the Tournament Hugo Keenan, doesn't include Jameson Gibson Park, Porter, Ryan, Kelleher, Prendergast and Byrne, who are going to be involved for Ireland a lot going forward. So, that it was not a level playing field. And we all saw from the 15, and that's probably the one thing that I am disappointed in, is that the thing that I keep saying every week is just pick a consistent 15. Just pick a consistent 15, Dwayne. And we saw the 15 that came out on Friday, whenever it was, and we were like, oh, okay, it's going to be one of them then. Because we took out most of our best players. If there's no Vafita there, that tells you basically what it is. And then, I said on the Rap podcast a few months ago that the Ospreys did this last year, where they basically chucked games that were played outside of Wales. So in the current URC format, we played 12 of the 18 games inside Wales. So you only need to win 10 games to get into the playoffs. Now, I don't think we're going to get into the playoffs, but it's like games that you play outside of your home country don't really count. You don't have to win them. So I think, and I think, Mark, you agreed with this, as Dwayne's looked at it and gone, do you know what? Let's just pretend this game isn't happening. Send a skeleton squad over. What happens, and then we'll bring them back. And I think on that context, it wasn't as bad as it could have been. It would have felt worse if we'd have been okay for the first 15 minutes and then got smashed from then on. But because we kind of got the pain out of the way in the first 15 minutes and then it was all right from then on, it wasn't as miserable an experience as the scoreline suggests.
Yeah.
Mark,
I think I said to you both at half time, 15 v 15, it was only 7-5. So there are a lot of positives to take from this game. I mean, I'm very happy to see it with a few things in particular. I mean, finally got to see Tommy Lewis with Scarlet. I'm happy with that. He showed up pretty well too.
Got a stat about Tommy.
Go
on. What's your stat?
Rogers at 15. He didn't like the world on fire, but there's good signs there. I'm happy with that. But the best thing for us has got to be our flankers, because both these boys, they're babies in terms of rugby, and the performances they're putting in are almost nigh on phenomenal. I mean, Leather Barrow, what a revelation, and he is Welsh qualified, which is awesome. I mean, I don't want him with Wales, I want him with us, but just knowing that's there makes it even better. We're not going to have someone go, oh, well, he's not qualified for Wales, blah, blah, blah. At least we know that's safe. His work over the ball is getting better. He reminds me a lot of Cubby in his prime, if I'm honest. if you look at Cubby from 2015 to 2017, that's what I'm seeing Leatherbarrow like right now. He's just picking off a few balls. He's hitting up so fast out the line. Just brilliant. And Ben Williams, I don't know where he gets it from, but some of these carries he's making are outstanding. I mean, it's what I'm expecting for Carwyn, if I'm totally honest. He's just breaking one tackle or shrugging someone off, and he's going 10, 15 meters down the line, and he's doing it a couple of times a game. I'm not quite sure our boy who didn't get picked up in bloody Doer Shield Rugby, didn't get picked up till really late in the academy systems. And he's now what? I'm not sure even how old he is, like 22, 23. And he's this good of a player. I really can't understand how our system has missed someone like him.
I can. Anyway,
we've got him now.
Go back to the Tommy Lewis bit. So what was your start on that, Hugh?
Tommy Lewis, 3 out of 11 tackles.
Made or missed?
And if he missed. Oh, sorry. He made 3 out of 11. He missed 8.
Yes, but we've spoken about this before. Missed tackles, especially where wingers are concerned, are so dodgy.
I am the first person to say ignore tackle stats. But the fact is that one player accounted for 1/4 of our missed tackles in this game. And look, it was his first game at this level. He's obviously played in the English Championship and he's been playing in the Welsh Premiership this season up until this game. And he is thrown in the deepest of deep ends. A lot like Charlie Titcombe, who we'll talk about in a minute. If you look back at it, a lot of the Leinster got a lot of joy on his side. And I think some of the missed tackle stats come from him making in defence a wrong decision and then realising he's made a wrong decision, then trying to recover from it, but it's too late. Look, I'm not trying to end the guy. He, like I said, he's thrown in the deepest of deepest ends, but not a good day in the office for him.
3 tackles. I'm sure I saw him switch wings and make more tackles than that. Because the amount of meters that boy must have put in, because I've seen him on opposite wing loads of times defensively.
I think the thing is, though, is, like you say, so you lose your inside centre and straight away you've got to rejig your back line. So he stepped on the pitch and he's gone, right, okay, let's just have a couple of minutes to get into it. You want to, with somebody like that, you want to get the ball into his hands early so he can have a bit of a run, or maybe, and his first contact is actually you've got to defend 3 international Leinster players running at you. Pick one, and you're like, it's not a great introduction to the game. But what I took from that game was the boys learned. We've been talking about for a long time how boys need to learn. And we're into the 5th game now. We still haven't learned how to tackle because some of the tackling was woeful, and not just Tommy. Some of the straight up tackling, either we're not strong enough or we're in the wrong position. Either or, whichever it is, we need to sort it out, because there were times where they were running like 8-9 players in the back line, and we were defending with 3.
That comes from Leinster being really, really good as well, though. They play at such a fast intensity, and they had some 0-second rucks. The ruck wasn't even forming, and they were off, which obviously our boys aren't used to, because this is, most of this team was disappointed to barely lose to the All Blacks a few weeks ago. Let's not forget. So it's just that goes back to the level between the teams. This is they were playing against mostly the best international team in the world. And like you to your point, Matt, our back row stood up to them. I would say, did Josh van der Fleer do anything particularly special in this game? I don't know, but Teddy Leatherbarrow, he's only 3 professional games ever. It's turning out to be something special. If I just read his stats, 16 carries again, second top carrier. How many tackles did he have? 14 tackles out of 16 attempts. 5 line-out takes. So with Plumtree and Fafita gone, he stepped up and was our main line-out jumper, which was fantastic. 2 turnovers, 1 as well. One defender beaten. Like I said, no, Dan Davis, Josh McLeod, you better hope he gets injured because you're not getting back in the team ahead of him at this rate. And then you got Ben Williams as well, who is also on his like 4th game of professional rugby ever.
Yeah.
And he completely stood up. And then player of the match for me, from our point of view, was Carwyn Tuipulotu. I think that was hands down his best match. 27 carries, like twice as much as anybody else. 29 meters.
Yeah, but we're starting to develop him into the Callum Mahoney replacement.
Yeah,
you know that, and we do need somebody that is going to do the hard yards. And the bit that I saw that he improved in this game, as compared to previous games this season, he wasn't going down off the first tackle. You know, he was coming into the first tackle, he was twisting, he was handing off, and he was going through, and he was making meters beyond the tackle. And I think this is what Elias was doing really well against Cardiff. You know, is that first up hit, and then so he's taking that man out, and then he's taking a second and a third man out, and then it's a quick ruck and it's out. So, you know, encouraging. I think I hope that he has one massive game, you know, one massive game where everything goes right and he finds himself popping up in between the centres and just running at nothing, and it's just him and a fullback and he just goes through, because he's a big boy. You know, he's a big boy. He's got a lot of momentum when he gets going, and I just want to see him go at someone. And you know, I think there's still issues around his defense that can be worked on, and you can see he's definitely working on that. But in attack, he is starting to improve. You know, we said at the start of the season, you know, players to watch, and he was one of the guys that we said I need to watch because, you know, the potential is there. And we said once he'd had a couple of games, you know, once he's bedded in, which he has now, he's pretty much our number 8 at the minute, you know, with injuries and suspensions. And I'm convinced that the reason Fafita wasn't playing was because if he gets suspended and he's not, it's not about was he going to get injured. It was, is he going to get suspended? If he gets suspended against the Ospreys, well, hey, there we go. That's the player for you. But you know,
13 out of 13 tackles for him as well. And I know tackle stats don't paint the picture of what his defense was like. I'm sure he may. Look, we conceded 50 points. The defense wasn't great, but he made all the tackles that he tried. He also beat 2 defenders as well. So this is games in a row where he's beaten defenders, and he was part of. Now I know the number 8 isn't the most important man in the scrum, but he was part of 100% scrum as well.
Number 8 is not the most important. How very dare you say? Without the number 8 at the back of the scrum, there's nobody to occupy the opposition's scrum half when he chops in off about this, that, and the other.
No.
Number 8 is vital.
Oh, by the way, did you see Jameson Gibson Park completely forget what he was doing when Kieran Hardy made that break? Whereas Jameson Gibson Park just kind of hassles him a bit and goes, literally turns around and starts walking away, and Kieran's off up the pitch.
Yeah. What was he doing? It was a ridiculous dummy, wasn't it? It was one of those ones you do in training when you're arsing around before training, and you go way and like this, and he bought it, and he was like, I was going to ask you, Mark, about props, about the front row, because considering the size and the strength of the Leinster front row and the experience of the Leinster front row, I actually thought scrum time. We held our own for large parts of that game, not all of it, but I thought our props are absolutely superb.
Our front row combination, they did work really well. I'm not exactly sure why, because I wouldn't have thought Stephen Thomas and Harry O'Connor would have worked very well together, but they did. They really, really did. And you know, Stephen Thomas his bread and butter is the scrum. He's not like, you know, Kemsley, where there's a lot more, you know, loose play. He is first and foremost scrummaging, and you know, Hardy O'Connor. You know, the only reason he's playing this game is because he needs a match fitness. If he didn't need it, I'll be honest, I think we would have probably gone for our 3rd or 4th choice. Just, you know, we've wrapped a few plays in cotton wool. I think he would have been one we would have done well. especially with Sam Wainwright having a knock. I'll be honest, there's only one thing I was disappointed with, is we didn't get to see the Hawk and Sock connection. We didn't get to see Harry and Sam O'Connor on the field at the same time. I was gutted about that. When Wyn Jones came on, first at loose head and then switched to tight, I was like, we're not going to get to see the brothers play, man. I'm gutted. But no, the front row was awesome. I'll be honest, especially at scrum time. It's not easy against Leinster, against a pack like that, against international Lion standard pack. And look, I've already said it a few times. Wyn Jones is struggling as a tight head, and we saw it a little bit again, but we kind of got away with it. And Harry O'Connor's developing even more. His shape going into the scrum is something that I really love with this boy. Is the way I know I spoke about this last season, and I criticised Sam Wainwright because he looked like he was an angry cat with a massive arch in his back going into one scrum, and he scared the life out of me. I thought the boy was going to get bloody, slip discs, broken back, whatever. But Harry O'Connor, his shape is brilliant, and he holds his ground, and you can just his feet positioning. He just holds himself firm, and even when he has that fight on him, he's showing he can give some back as well. And I don't know if it's an experience or whether it's luck, but he's knowing when to pop up. That's something that props need to learn. When or when not, you can come up and get away with it. And that's something he seems to be learning quite quick.
See, there were a whole load of words in there that me and Hugh were just going, okay, fair enough. He's got lovely shape. Yeah.
Good scrum. 100% scrum. Can't have gone that badly, could it? Anyway, two turnovers for.
The best part of the game, the best part of this whole podcast, first off, is the community game. You put me down for that. The best part about the professional game is the forwards, is the scrum, is that front row.
I've got a thumb.
What was that?
See that? Did you see that?
Where did
I
that
saw
come
that.
from?
I didn't do that on purpose.
Who did that?
He's gonna try to defeat
This is one for YouTube, isn't it? Right.
Yeah. Anyway, can I talk about Charlie Titcombe?
Yep, Charlie Titcombe, and then Johnny Williams, and then we'll move on to the Ospreys.
So obviously, Charlie, another one thrown in. His first ever professional start, Leinster away against the World Rugby Team of the Year. No pressure, mate. Just see how you get on. Oh, by the way, you're going to be on for the 80 because we haven't got any 10 cover, despite what Martin insisted that Johan Nicholas could cover 10. Can he bollocks? Anyway, so when I talk about Johan Lloyd not being a natural 10 and he's learning to be a 10, this is what I mean. So Charlie Titcombe is a natural 10. So he had, just talk about his stats very quickly, 27 passes, which is really good. 7 kicks and only 5 carries. So he was on his feet, orchestrating things more than he was at the bottom of a ruck, which is not what Johan has been doing in a lot of the games so far, which I'm happy about. He also did 13 out of 15 tackles, which considering Leinster would absolutely have been targeting him, it is pretty good. And his kicking from hand is excellent. The distance he gets, especially when he's kicking for touch and things, really, really strong, really, really impressive. That really stood out to me as something that he did really well. And his meterage already, when you consider the minutes he's had, 252 meters, which is I haven't got you.
How many blue whales? How many blue whales is that?
Oh, about 10.
There
11.
we go.
Anyway, so I think Charlie Titcombe is another really shrewd recruitment. And if we're going to be forced to take players from the Bucks League so far, if they're anything like these two that we got this year, crack on. I really like this kid, and I don't know how many more opportunities he's going to get this season, because by God, we need all our best players on the pitch to have any chance in any game, really.
Yeah, well,
I was impressed with him. I don't know what you guys thought.
Yeah, I'm exactly the same. We were never in a position to win that game, as in have his game management really control things to that matter. But what he was able to control, he done extremely well. And I'm going to add Ben Williams into the Bucks category because he's come through Cardiff Met. So I'm going to stick a third one in there for a bit of fun.
And Shenton came on. Shenton came on for the last 20 as well. He's another Bucks recruit. So
the thing I like about Titcombe going forward is he's a stocky 10 like Costello, and he can tackle, which is brilliant. That's what you need from a 10. Like Johan has missed a fair few tackles, but obviously he makes more up for that in other areas of his game. Now, we know Dinky's out until mid-January. We know Costello's out till mid-January. It's just going to depend on how well Johan is doing in these games and how well we are, or how bad we are, I should say, if Titcombe's going to get any more minutes.
But the important thing is that we've got players coming through, you know,
damn straight.
and I think that's the key bit. You know, you've now got people like Titcombe, Ben Williams, Harry O'Connor, Tuipulotu, and this is what we've been. I know we're missing all the big players and all of that kind of stuff, but we should have been feeding these players through for the last couple of seasons. We should have been finding space for them in games. We should have been going, right, okay, you're going to have 3 games coming on from the bench there, and you're going to have 2 games starting, and you know, and this is why, because they come on and they learn, you know, and all right, they're learning from getting a paste in, and they're learning from, right, don't do that and don't do that and don't do that. But as they've learned that, and as they start to put that together, then they'll start to go on to, okay, well, you can do that. You can do that a bit more, and you can be there, and that, you know, it goes from the negative learning into the positive learning, and that's when it really starts to pay off, because it's like then they're starting to push their game forward. You know, they're not plugging the holes in their game, they're advancing their game. So that, for me, with people like Ticker, I mean, you look at his kicking off the tee, and only had the 1 shot, but you know, you look at that straight away and you go, okay, there's a bit that he can improve on straight away there.
I'm told that the wind picked up at that moment. So I was talking to Kean, aka Rugby Keno, who was in the stands, and he said the wind was swirling something wrong in the RDS for the period that we were on top. So so I won't hold that against him. According to Kean as well, during that 60-minute period, the Leinster fans in the stands were rattled. They were like, we thought this would be a bit easier. And exactly to your point, Lee, this season was always going to be about, you know, by the bullet, big clear out, and we're playing the kids. And, you know, the average age of the players we let go is something like 29, and the average age of the players we brought in is 23. So this was, and we can see that, okay, you know, we've had some absolute hammerings, but it's going all right in some areas, isn't it?
I mean, if the average age of what we let go was 29 this year, next year is going to be a lot worse. I mean, we got Foxy, we got Scott, Cowdo, I think, has got an extra year, same as Fafita. Sam Lowsy, I think, might be out. So, you know, this is going to be a lot older of players leaving than coming in.
But then you've got, I know we'll talk about this again, but Sheriff, Wyn Jones, you know, Josh McLeod.
We've got a generation of older players that
I know
need to be culled.
Yeah,
but
I know.
The good thing is, by the end of this season, some of those might not be in the first choice starting 15.
No, a lot of them are not.
I think Gareth would. I think Gareth Davis is for me the one.
He's still got the extra year on his contract.
We're getting a bit ahead of ourselves, but if it was me, I'd be like, no, we'll pay the money to keep him if it was my decision.
But for me, someone like Josh McLeod now, with injury after injury after, and I know it's harsh, but this is professional sport. You know, injury after injury after injury, he may struggle to get another contract. You know, as talented a player as he is, and as much as I love watching him when he's on the pitch, that might be 3 or 4 games a season. And you need somebody that you can rely on. And we've just seen that actually we can take younger players, bring them into a professional setup, and start working with them and start developing them, and they may come through. You know, he's another player that might be a little bit. Anyway, I was going back to the Leinster game. I was going to say Johnny Williams for me again, meters beyond contact, and just the pace that he was coming onto the ball with was just phenomenal. You know, I know he cocked up early and all that kind of stuff, but after that, he absolutely made that. The bit that frustrated me in that game, we were attacking the Leinster line, so we were already 5-0 up. We had them rattled. We had them on the back foot. We'd gone from like a line out.
5-0 up. That just
sorry.
In my head, we were 5-0 up. So we'd scored the try. We'd had them rattled. We were inside their 22, and this goes back to what I was saying last week, about decision making. Johnny Williams comes on a run and makes 10 meters, and we're like 7 or 8 meters out. Then it pops up, and I think it was Alex Craig makes another 5-10 meters. We're literally on their line, You've then got standing there, ready to come at it, You've got 2 Pelotu and a prop, 2 big, heavy boys. Their defensive line is their 2 centres, Are you going to send 2 of your biggest, heaviest boys at their 2 centres? Yes. Hardy picks up dummies and tries to snipe and gets absolutely destroyed by their back row. And I'm like, this is what I mean about decision making, For all the times when I'm going, let's go and do something creative, that was the one time where we should have just gone 1 pass in, 1 pass in, 1 pass in. We had them rattled. We had them outnumbered. We had the matchups that we wanted. We had our big boys against their little boys, and we screwed it up. So that for me was the frustration. But it's good in a way because we put ourselves in that position, but we should have done better.
But who was the common factor in all of that?
Hardy, and some people are saying he had I'll be fair, some Irish commentators have been actually really complimentary of the Scarlets, and saying anybody would have struggled to live with that Leinster team, and for a large part of that game, actually we stuck it at them, and they were rattled. You can't bring that down to one player, but some of the decisions, some of the choices that we made were frustrating.
Head scratcher.
No, there was something going to be thrown at the telly at some point. So I've got to surround myself with like soft teddies now, and so when I throw it at the telly, I don't break the telly. But that's the way it is.
We there's something that we still don't have, and we haven't shown in any game so far, is any kind of identifiable kicking game or strategy. No. And that's going to cost us a couple of games this season unless something changes.
We had a kick chase this week, though.
We did actually. No, because we sent one up. Titcombe sent one crossfield bomb, and we regathered it, which made me think, why aren't we doing that more? Kieran Hardy's biggest strength, in my opinion, is his box kicking. He, out of the Wales nines, he has got the best kick to compete box kick, and he didn't do it the whole game. And this would be my question more at the coaches than the players, is we don't seem to have any kind of kicking strategy, and that is a gap in our game. So that's the one thing that I would like really to see us add, because it will cost us games.
Does that come back to not having a recognised former 10 in the coaching staff, like you've brought up previously?
Could well do. I think if we had a Stephen Myler type character, if that is the kind of signing that I would be going out and looking for, I'd be like, I want a number 10 who's maybe 36, who has played thousands of games, and I want to bring him in and coach and be a player coach for these younger kids who are coming through. That would be my priority signing for the Scarlets at the moment.
We just let him go to New Zealand, mate. That's Patch. The man you're talking about there is Reece Patchell.
No, it's not. Patchell's not the kicking 10.
He can kick. He is a kicking 10, and he's a controlling 10.
He's a running 10. He's
an
running, passing 10.
all-rounder. He's an all-rounder. Anyway, let's move on. Let's move on. We weren't going to spend that long on the Leinster game. So
we had positives.
We have positives. Yeah,
we were most. I don't think I've complained about anybody apart from Tommy Lewis. Yeah, even then I wasn't so harsh.
We haven't spoken. Yeah, So before we move on to the Ospreys, right? So Ospreys did our Ospreys pod last week. Did a really, really good bit before they played the Dragons and got stuffed by the Dragons. They were the lowest Welsh team at that point. So they did a thing about who's played for the Ospreys and the Dragons. It's quite popular. So I had a chat and I went, right, okay, well, now that we've got Scarlets and Ospreys, why don't we do the same thing, only for us it'll be who's played for the Scarlets and then gone on to play for the Ospreys, and then they'll do it the other way around. So, because there are a couple of players that qualify for both. So, players who've gone from Scarlets to Ospreys. Of course, I'm going to write these down. I think we're going to need to put them on Twitter. I've just recorded it. We're recording it. I'll just put it on later.
Are we doing this in any order or back and forth? Or?
Go on, just shout them out.
I haven't listened to the Ospreys pod. How does it do? We just shouting them out?
Yeah, just go for it. Just who have you got?
How do we know when we've got them all?
Well, we won't, because we'll put it on Twitter and everyone will just argue about it all week. So Jack Morgan is the first obvious one. Scott Williams.
Ali Davis.
Ali Davis, scrum half, yeah. Scott Williams is my little trickster, because he's one of the ones that went and so he qualifies in both categories.
George North.
I'm going. Oh, I was going to go George North.
Rodri Jones.
Oh, that was going to be my next one. You're getting all my ones.
No, you're too slow, man. You're too slow.
I know.
Do they have to have senior appearances? Because we've got a couple lower ones we know of.
Who would that be?
Harry Dole, Osher not. They didn't play. Well, they didn't play for the Scarlets. I know Harry did play for the Ospreys. Osher, I don't think he had a senior start for the Ospreys, but I think he might still be there actually.
Okay.
He's in their academy.
So my favourite player when we come to doing all of this is always Tal
Mike Phillips.
Oh, Mike Phillips, yeah, because
he came back as well.
Yeah.
Wow.
He did. He came back for one game in South Africa when we didn't have
any
as
well, isn't it?
Yeah.
We also had Herschel Yanchis on that bloody tour.
Yeah, but
Counts. He was
signed,
in the Scarlets jersey.
Yeah, he signed a temporary contract and he played. So yeah, he's another one that ping ponged. Well, that's what we'll call them, ping pong players. So my favourite one that comes up in a lot of quizzes is Tal Selly, because he's first man to play in all four regions. So he went from us, came through the academy with us. I coached him at my local club and at school. You know, when you're in sixth form and you've got to help out with the PE department and all that kind of stuff. And so I helped coach Tal at 10, and he was playing down Quins with me as well. And he was a really, really good player. He ended up on the wing for Scarlets and then Ospreys, and I think he went Cardiff and then Dragons, or Dragons and Cardiff. I can't remember his actual route. And then he had a cap on a tour of America.
Was that 09?
There was a Lions. There was a Lions.
09, I think I was.
No.
So
yes. Sorry.
Yeah, and so we did have a couple of. But he's my favourite trivia question answer. So who else? There must.
When did Tavis Noyle play? Did Tavis Noyle play for us or the Ospreys first?
Us first. He got released from the junior academy or whatever.
Okay, because he's another one who's played for all four.
Did he play Ospreys? Tavis Noyle?
I'm fairly sure he's one who's played all four.
Well, that's interesting. I didn't know that he played there.
It's definitely a
Can we
scrum half.
include Halfpenny because he was in the Ospreys academy?
No, he didn't go from us to the
Yeah,
Ospreys.
it's got to be us first and then
Us
over
first,
to them.
okay.
See, yeah. So there's got to be some obvious ones somewhere, isn't it?
It's going to be a scrum half. It'll have to be.
Well, you've had Added Davis, haven't you? Added Davis, Mike.
Phillips.
No,
No.
Tavis Noah played for the Ospreys first.
Did he now?
Yeah.
Your internet
Ospreys
speed must be lightning.
2009,
Mhm.
and then he went to Llanelli and then got to the Scarlets. Gavin Henson played a game for Llanelli. Does that count?
No.
Because that was before the Scarlets existed.
Oh. Who did he play against?
I think
I don't know. He made his debut in the same game as Stephen Jones.
Wow.
It was like the last game of the season or something like that.
Okay, yeah, no, he doesn't count, but it was a nice
That's an
strike.
error.
Yeah.
No,
I think-
didn't happen.
What about Dan Evans? Dan Evans.
Dan Evans, yeah.
Yeah.
Another cap on the 09 tour.
Did he get capped?
Yeah.
Yep.
2 caps, as far as I know.
Right, I didn't know that. Okay, I think we need to throw that one up to Twitter. So we'll write all of those down. It means I'm going to have to listen to it properly. But yeah, that'll be stuff. And we'll just keep adding to it through the week because those boys will come up. I think the challenge is we've got to find more than the Ospreys pod. I
can't think of many that we've taken off them. I think a few will come back. I think Jack Morgan's going to come back one day, one way or another.
No.
Yeah, that could be interesting.
No, I think there's
that
a
or he's
personal
off to,
grudge
like-
there. I can't see that happening.
Either that or he's off to like Toulouse or Toulon or someone on mega bucks.
I can see him going megabucks. I can see him taking the money. But I
Fair play
can't
to
see him.
him.
Yeah, I can't see him coming back because of what he said when he left. So yeah.
I was coaching with one of his teachers a few years ago, just before he made the move, and he did not have a good standing with the Scarlets. Very much same as you, Lee, right now.
Yeah, but I'm still here. I'm still talking it up. So yeah, he was an Ospreys player that got caught in the Scarlet system, and that's just the way it is. So right, okay. Let's talk about the Ospreys game. So I will put that out on Twitter, and feel free to comment and argue your tits off on it all week, guys, because that's what it's there for. And then just shout at the Ospreys as much as you want, but don't shout at us because
Who was that centre? Who did that?
Which centre?
I can't remember his name now. Began with F. Not Fekitoa.
Centre beginning with F.
Yeah, played for the Scarlets and for the Ospreys.
Pino.
No.
Okay, that'll come to you. Add it to the feed when we put it
Okay,
out.
everybody listen to the audio of this and look for the centre who did that.
I'm asking you. I'm not asking them. I'm asking you. Anyway.
You're asking everyone who. Come on, back.
So, just on something else, just before we move on to the Ospreys games. So, from earlier, Hugh has replied, and his explanation, of exhibition over expectation is that Leinster played exhibition rugby, and we went in with little expectation. So,
Kieran Fonatia.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he did. And then he went to play in England, didn't he? Somewhere. Yeah.
He didn't really play for us. He was shit. That was we swapped with Scott Williams, didn't we? That was that sort of deal.
It was something like that. Yeah.
I don't think either of us really won for that.
Anyway, let's talk about beating the Ospreys this weekend. So we've talked about players coming in or players coming back. So who are you expecting to see? Mark, you go first. You do forwards, Hugh, you can do back. So who are you expecting to see in the forwards this weekend?
It's a little bit tricky to start with because I don't know how Matthias is. If he's fit, he's back. Elias is definitely starting. I'm expecting Lousy and Fafita to come into that pack. I'm expecting, I probably think Tuipulotu to shift to 6, Fafita in at 8, Ben Williams to the bench. That's what I'm thinking in my back row. Craig and Lousy, 100%. I want to see them together for as long as they can. Probably Jack Price on the bench because I think he's been playing, the couple of games he's had, he's been outstanding. Front row, Matthias, Elias, and O'Connor. If those 3 are fit and ready to go, not niggling like it was Matthias last week, he has to be fit. Then that's got to be it. And covering, I'm hoping Sam Wainwright has recovered because I do not want Wyn Jones coming on tight there because I know he can do the job, but he's had a few issues already, and if a ref actually looks into it and decides to, follow the rule book for a change, we could be in trouble.
Okay. So Hugh, you were getting all excited because you found something on Twitter on Tinternet. So go on, you're still
We've missed
looking...
a shocker. We've missed someone who played for us and then played for the Ospreys, and it's a really big one.
Who?
Lieburn?
Grand Slam winning fullback Lieburn.
Did he play for us?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was shit for us though.
Is that what he's blanked out of my memory?
Yeah. You wouldn't have recognised him, honestly. He didn't even have a boot with us.
Part of the Fab Four was a Scarlet. How about that?
Anyway, focus now, Hugh. Focus. So, Hugh. So the backline players to come back in. What are you expecting the backline to look like?
I think
Saturday?
the question, as it has been for a few weeks now, is Eddie or Johnny.
Eddie.
And for me, because Eddie and Joe have been going so well together, I'd stick with them. However, Johnny and Joe was going really well at the end of last season as well. So, and for a lot of Johnny's deficiencies, Joe is able to cover for those. So unlike Foxy, who doesn't have the pace to dig Johnny out of the, when he goes off on one, Joe can sort that out. I would prefer start with Eddie and have Johnny on the bench. So I would have Johnny in the 23.
Ooh.
That is where I would go.
I don't know if, I'd probably have Johnny Williams and Johan Nicholas both on the bench. I'd probably let Tikuma have the side off. I'd probably want.
So who's the 10 cover then?
Johan again.
No,
You missed a bit. You missed a bit earlier where you said that was a load of shit, Mark. So I'll just throw that in there now that Johan Nicholas can't cover.
No, he's not a 10.
No, I know he's not a 10, but he can play 10.
I've never seen it.
So
right.
I have.
Anyway, I'm doing the backs.
Yeah.
Right.
Sorry, bro.
Yeah. So
carry on.
All right. So yeah. So I would go bring Gareth back in, Johan. Pretty much the back line that we had against the Lions. I'd go with that again, apart from not Steph. Sorry, Steph. Week 2 of being horrible to you. I'd have Combeer. I don't understand why Combeer is in the B team now. Do we know, Matt? Do we know?
No, not a clue.
Oh, I thought you were pointing at me. I thought you knew why, but no.
No, I was like, boom, someone else who agrees.
He went all American on you then. He was going like, yo, dude. Bow,
no, I was boom. Oh, wait, just the camera. There it is. Boom.
So that's what I would go. I'd go the back line that played against the Lions, except with Combeer in for Steph, and on the bench. And I'd stick with Hardy on the bench over Archie in this one because it's the big game.
Yeah, I would too.
Hardy does put up the bench in comparison.
Yeah, Hardy, Charlie, and Johnny, which was the 9, 10, 12 of this game. Oh, maybe there is some logic to this whole selection thing. Anyway, so that's what I would do. And the big question is 12. Can he resist the temptation at 12? Yeah. Is the one for me.
I would personally go with Johnny Williams at 12 because Kieran Williams is out still, isn't he? So they haven't really got a recognised 12. They'll have Walsh at 10, which is iffy at best. So you've got Johnny Williams running like a steam train in between those two, and they kind of go like, oh, they need to cover. Yeah, you need to plug that gap, boys. You need to do something there. And then you're straight out to Joe Roberts that will just run rings around George North and say, this is what an outside centre does. Now, watch and see, because North will be playing on the wing again, and we'll be going, this is how a 13 defends, and this is how a 13 attacks. And now this is what a sidestep looks like. This is what a step and goal looks like. This is, I'm going to hold the player up and go round the outside. Watch now, George. This is a pass. This is how a pass goes into a player's hands. So that's what Joe Roberts is going to do on there. I'd agree with Conveyor in for Steph. I'd put Tom Rogers and McNichol would be my back three. And I think the key is not letting their forwards get any sense of comfort at all. We have to run them ragged from the start. They will try and play a nice tight game. They'll play structure. They'll play, let's have a scrum, let's have a line out, let's have a ruck.
What you mean, Lee, is the Ospreys can't attack, so they won't try.
No. Yeah. It'll be a structured attack, and it'll be, I know what we'll do. Let's stick the ball into the corner there and put pressure on the liner. But we've already seen, if you now bring back in Fafita and Lousy, and then you've got Leatherbarrow as well, and you've got Alex Craig. Now, all of a sudden, we've got 4 line-out jumpers. Yeah. And that starts to mix stuff up. They've just lost Tipperick. Chances are he won't be back for next week. So, it starts to change that dynamic a lot. So if we can rattle them up front, and I mean proper rattle them up front, and then start moving that ball early, I can't see them living with us. I really, really can't. I think that I'm loving the idea of just putting it back. You found another one. Let me do the tactics bit, and then you can fanny around with that in a minute. So the bit for me is being able to turn them backwards and push them backwards into their own 22. Competing for kicks is going to be key, particularly with North. North doesn't like being, going backwards and looking for kicks. So for me, I think we know exactly what we have to do. And I'd say the only threat on that pitch is going to be Jack Morgan. I think Jack Morgan's going to be the only thorn in our side. So just send Tuipulotu at him. Just go, here's a nice big boy. Bang in, sit on top of him for a couple of plays, ball out, lovely jubbly, job gone.
So you mean the poor man's Teddy Leatherbarrow, right?
Right, Hugh, who else have you found, mate?
Rob McCusker.
Yes, Why? He did. Yeah, because he retired and then he came out of retirement to play over there, didn't he? That's how hard up they were. They took a retired Scarlet when he went.
I'm sorry if you listen to this, Rob, but I never thought you were any good.
Ooh,
I've got one who's gone back and forth. Christian Phillips.
Oh yeah, Kiki Snacks.
He started at the Ospreys, then he came to us for 3 seasons, then he went back to the Ospreys for a season.
He scored a try against Racing. I can remember away. I think it was away. We won that game. It was like a single score game.
So he's a ping pong as well, then.
Yeah. I've got a question for you.
Go on then.
If you could pick one of our players for one of their wingers to headbutt like an Exocet missile, which player should get headbutted?
Steph. If Steph got headbutted, he might have to change up bloody haircut and get a decent haircut. It's Steph's haircut and Thomas Williams's bloody moustache are key to how good a player they are. I'm telling you now. When he goes and has a proper haircut, Steph will turn back into a proper control player. Thomas Williams shaves off the moustache, he'll be a decent player again. So
no, Martin's gone.
He's gone. He doesn't like
Not
the
again.
idea. He doesn't like the idea of me talking about Steph Evans' hair. So let's focus on that game on Saturday. What are we worried about from the Ospreys? Do they pose any threats anywhere on the pitch?
It's the old adage, isn't it, of like form goes out of the window in the derby, and they might suddenly decide, oh, we actually can attack. I hope not. What am I worried about? They, like I said, on paper, their team is the best in Wales, and the team sheet that they can put out is more star-studded than any other region can put out. So they do have players who are capable. And I guess I'm a little bit worried about the pack. It's the same, you know, without being all cliched about Ospreys, Scarlets, like they've got the pack, we've got the backs, is the whole thing. Some of the, you know, that could be something that goes a bit wrong.
Well,
that's about it.
Yeah, it is the pack, isn't it? I think Elias and Dewi Lake is going to be an interesting one. I think that's going to go. That's an interesting competition right there.
It's a good matchup, isn't it?
I think the second row matchup, if anything, we've got the more experienced second rows now. And
they'll have Beard and Reece Davis. And we're going to have Alex Craig. And the big decision, if Lousey's back, Fafita will be at 8. If not, I think Fafita will be in the row.
So I'd still say, you know, we probably got, you know, Beard is a very good tight player. You know, he can control the tight. And that's why I think if we just play into our own hands, you know, and we start spreading that ball earlier, this whole thing about you've got to earn the right to go wide. No, I think it worked for a while. I think if you're good enough, you can. And I think we've got enough players there. Let's say you put Fafita in the centres and he looks at home. You know, you put Leatherbarrow in the centres, he looks at home. You know, there isn't a lack there. So whereas you take some of the Ospreys second row, back row, and try and put them in the centre, and it's not happening. So I think we've got to play to our strength, play to the area where we're going to score tries, and it's going to be moving the ball wide early. So yeah, it's that for me is what we have to do. But then again, so much of it is just going to depend on the weather. I say this every week. It's going to depend on the weather, and if it's hurling it down.
If it's hosing it down, they've got better. Their kicking game is better than ours, which isn't saying much. As I've said, we don't have an identifiable kicking game. So that could be something else that goes wrong. I don't know if Owen Williams.
Owen Williams, of course, yeah. I mean, via Leicester and Gloucester and have you, but yeah, Owen Williams, bloody hell, yeah. It's an annoying thing, isn't it? Because names keep popping.
Do the Ospreys produce their own players?
Nope.
Or do they just?
They're worse than the Dragons. You know, you wait till we do this against the Dragons. It'll be like there'll be at least 25, 30 players that have gone that way, and I can't think of a single Dragon coming back the other way. So, yeah. Anyway, I think we've lost Martin, mate. I think he's been truly offended by my comments about Steph Evans' haircut.
I know, we've watched that in tonight, haven't we? Steph Evans' haircut. I wasn't paying attention to his community rundown apart from New Dock Stars.
Let's
and we slagged off scrums. We didn't slag off scrums.
We just admitted that nobody really knows what happens in the front row apart from front row players, and there's an unwritten rule that front row players don't talk about what happens in the front row of the scrum. When I was at the hockey today, I was talking to an old mate of mine who, not an old mate, someone I used to play against. So he was back row, I was back row, and we were just talking about stuff. And we said, we could never understand the front row and all of this kind of stuff. And he said the same. He played one game in the front row. I played one game in the front row, and we both just got destroyed. You know, I walked around for a week with my neck like that, and he was walking like this. I never understood. I don't understand the desire to play in the front row, or the ability to. It's a unique set of abilities to play in the front row, And so to be good at playing in the front row, you've got to have a bloody screw loose somewhere.
It's like a different sport, though, isn't it? I suppose you want something else out of your physical activity. It's more like, I don't know, a deadlifter or something. I don't know, than a ball sport, because a lot of teams, loose heads not so much, but a lot of teams don't ask their loose heads to carry. Loose head's job is not to carry the ball.
Yeah, it's just to survive the game. Anyway, let's do a couple of predictions, and let's see if Martin comes back in before we finish predictions. So, go on, you can go first. Your prediction for the Scarlets' demolition of the Ospreys this weekend. What's your score prediction?
Mark's just messaged her. He said, "Is it worth rejoining?" Yes. You're a presenter on the podcast, Mark.
Go on, you do yours. Yeah, go
on. I just want to say, this is a more important game for the Ospreys than it is for us. This is must win for them. If they do not win this game, their season is in tatters. They're not playing for anything. It's over. It's dead rubbers from now till May or June or when we're finishing the season.
Mm.
So that's exciting because we could end their season, which will make it doubly annoying if we lose.
Yeah.
I'm going Scarlets by. You know what it is? I reckon if we win, we win by a few.
Yeah.
I don't think we squeak it by 2. I don't think it's the last minute kick or anything like that. I think if we win by 12.
Yeah. I think I'm pretty much sitting in the same place as you, where either the Ospreys are going to squeak it with it's going to be blowing a force 9 and all of that kind of stuff, and it's going to be horrendous, and the referee will only have one arm, or and then the Ospreys might squeak it by 1, or we're going to take them apart by, I'm going to go Scarlets by 15, and I'm going to write that down because I'm going to have to make that same prediction tomorrow. Scarlets by 15. So, yeah. So, Mart, are you back with us, mate? Are you?
Yeah, I am, but my video don't want to work.
That's not a bad thing, mate. That's not a bad thing. I've seen the look.
Oh, it's absolutely falling down a hole.
We're just finishing.
Why are you down there, bud?
I think this is going to be a regular part of the show now. When am I going to disappear?
So we're just doing final predictions before we go to bed and have some beauty sleep. So what's your prediction for Scarlet's demolition of the Ospreys on the weekend, my friend?
It's going to be straightforward. I don't know. We had a good 44-0 against them back in 2017. So I think we're going to go one bet. I think we go 49-0.
Oh, okay. I'm leaving that one.
I love it.
I'm definitely clipping that one and putting that into the Ospreys podcast somewhere.
Hang on a minute. Definitely. I've got a question. How many points do we have to score to get a positive points difference? Because we're in the red at the moment.
Oh yeah, after last weekend it was. Bearing in mind we had
I have got it on the spreadsheet. If you click on URC, it should be there.
We've had a Tonkin down in South Africa, and we had a Tonkin last weekend. So
132 we need.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll eat into that this weekend. But
we'll come close to taking half of that.
We'll get into double figures. Right, that's the target.
That's only 32. That's the first half.
Right, gents, we're gonna have to wind it up there.
One more prediction. How many cards?
Well, Fafita's playing. In total, let's do the game in total. How many for them and for us? Go on, Mark, you go first.
I reckon 2 yellows and 1 red for them, nothing for us.
It's because you can't see his face. He's like, I don't care. I can say what I want.
That's not going to happen. At least 2 yellows for us. Who's the scrap going to be between? Because I can't see Elias and Lake scrapping.
No, it'll be Fafita.
Yeah.
It'd be Fafita
and George with Beard, though, is it? No, George.
Yeah,
When's the last time you saw George scrapping?
exactly. Yeah,
Yeah,
he just it's gonna get stuck into him and give him a bit of jip, and he'll react. So
maybe Joe and George. That'd be a good scrap.
George is like twice the size of Joe.
Yeah, but that's what make it so good. Joe would just tuck him up straight away.
yeah, bit of scrappy do. Let me at him, Uncle Scooby.
Combeer and Morgan. I'd like to see that.
Oh,
No,
boys.
I was about to say Luke Morgan. I think it's Luke Morgan and Gareth Davis. Gareth's got a yellow card in him as well, actually. Could be 3 yellows.
Okay, I'm gonna go 2 yellows for them. It'll be whoever they've got at scrum half and Jack Morgan will get yellowed, and then we'll probably pick up a red card 2 minutes from time, something stupid like that, and yeah, probably be Johnny Williams coming on and giving away a yellow. Right, gents, we are done. We are done once again. So thank you for this evening. It's been nice doing it on a Sunday. Yeah, I didn't miss my Strictly Results show either. I did. So we ticked all the boxes tonight.
Yeah, but I have to rush through all my community stuff. I had to get everything ready on a Sunday. Sunday's my relaxing day, but can't be doing it.
This is fun. Anyway, we will argue all week on Twitter over players who've gone from us to them, and no doubt on Thursday when the Ospreys pod comes out, there'll be a whole load of stuff coming back the other way. But for now, gents, looking forward to next weekend. All the very best. Thank you for tonight. Enjoy your rugby. Have a good one, gents. All the best.
And you guys. Tra-bye.
Thank you for listening to the Scarlets FIFA podcast. We hope you enjoyed the show. Please subscribe, rate and review wherever you listen to us, as it really helps us spread the word. You can find us on all the usual social media channels or email us on welshregionalrugbypod@gmail.com. And remember, whatever the question, rugby is always the answer.
Sports Social Podcast Network.